Hey Coach, it's Coach Simpson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have not been here before, this channel is dedicated to helping coaches of all sports, specifically mainly football, but every sport, go through and hopefully improve themselves as I work to improve myself daily. If you would like more information on anything I'm covering, it's available on my website, fbcoachsimpson.com. This specific video is coming out of a book that I'll be putting out in probably a couple of years, and also some articles I'm writing for the magazine Headsets, which is available for free at fbcoachsimpson.com/headsets. It's not just got my own articles, but you've got 12, I think, great high school minds writing articles on every topic high school football related: offense, defense, special teams, culture, head coaching growth, anything you can imagine. It's in that magazine and it's free. fbcoachsimpson.com/headsets. Okay, so today I'm going to go through our do not list. This is a do not list for really life, I would say, but anyone in a leadership position geared towards, in my mind, head coaches. Okay, so this is somebody who's going to be in charge. Obviously, you can take this and apply it in the business world. Take it and apply it with your family. You can take it and apply it with whatever. In any kind of leadership role, these are what I would say are the do nots. So do not do this, okay? First thing is, do not think that you're the smartest person on every topic on the planet, okay? My job as a head coach is to try to surround myself with people that are smarter than me in a lot of different areas. You know, I've always believed the best head coaches have the best staffs, and that's because they understand you find people that are experts in areas you need them in, you collaborate together, and boom, you have magic coming out. But a lot of times as a head coach, we feel like we have to do it or it won't get done right. And I can elaborate a long time. You get the book when it comes out. I do a lot of this. Also elaborate a whole lot of that on Find a Way, my first book I put out, which you can get on my website. Topic number 2, assume that people know what you expect. That was a big error for me as a young head coach. I was a very passionate guy. I poured a lot of effort into things, and I just assumed everybody else was the same. They're not the same. That's what makes you the head coach. And a lot of people don't have that desire to be that guy. Or a lot of your players, they're doing this as for fun. So when you assume everyone understands and they think like you, you're going to find out real quickly that's not the case. So being able to communicate your expectations and understanding what's reality for your program is very, very important. Number 3, use people. Nobody sets out to do this as a head coach. We don't. But a lot of times, just like in church work, unfortunately, 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. So you find that real gung-ho coach and you dump a lot of work on them. Or you find that parent who's willing to volunteer and you dump a lot of work on them. And you forget how important they become to you. You become kind of numb to it, and you don't thank them profusely. You don't make sure they understand how much you appreciate them. And again, not just as a coach, but I'm speaking to myself as a dad and a husband as well. A lot of times we're not very good at communicating our thanks. They're willing to work for you. You need to make sure they understand how much you appreciate them. Number 4, don't wait for change. A lot of times as coaches, we expect things to happen, and when they don't happen, we start going, well, if the school would, if this guy would, if that guy would, if this would, and we start waiting for other people to do things. We're literally giving our fate to their hands. As a coach, don't wait for it. Make it happen. And it may not be what you envisioned or what you wanted, but if you take action, others will follow. And a lot of times we want to wait for change to occur. Our culture's not real good. I wish. Don't waste time on that argument or that discussion. What can you do now to help with that? Because you're the guy in charge, or lady in charge, depending on what sport you're coaching. Don't fail to communicate your message. A lot of times, as a head coach, we understand what we're saying. We say it to the kids. We don't always communicate it out to the parents and the community of here's what we're going to stand for. Here's what we want to be about. With social media now, with email lists, with 9 gazillion apps you can go get, there shouldn't be an issue of communicating what you want to communicate. You can change the narrative. You decide the narrative on what you want to go out. But as a head coach, if you don't do that, again, you're putting that in the hands of other people, and they're going to say some things you may not agree with. So you need to communicate the message you want going out. Don't think that winning and losing is the end result. Obviously, winning and losing keeps our job, so I'm not negating that. What I'm saying in this is a lot of times, maybe I'm a struggling high school coach, and I look at Nick Saban, and he does X, Y, and Z, and he's won a national championship or a lot of them. So I need to do every single thing Nick Saban does. Nick Saban does a lot of great things, and I'm probably a great guy to try to emulate. But there are as many Dabo Sweeneys and Pete Carrolls and Dick Vermeils as there are Nick Sabans who win, and Andy Reeds who win. So understand a lot of times that just because you emulate somebody who's won a lot and you try to do what they do, it may not work where you are. The same thing with losing. There's been a lot of times where I felt we've done 90% of things you're right, and we got to continue to improve, and we didn't win. The biggest mistake as a coach you want to do is we'll throw all of that out and do something completely radically different. Well, the reality is it may have been one or two little things you did wrong. Don't just scrap everything because it didn't work the first time. Take what you thought might have helped, what you thought went well, and keep moving it forward. Number 7, don't blame. The first time you blame officials, your kids will blame officials. The first time you blame a circumstance, your kids will blame a circumstance. The first time you blame whatever, your kids will do the same thing. And once you start that snowball rolling, it's hard to stop that. It's really hard to stop that. I've got a young son right now. He's growing up, probably about the second or third, maybe fourth grade. He's playing a little youth football. Had a youth football coach, a great guy. I was helping with him, and but had a problem with this. And so my son, they lost the game, didn't play real well, and he got in the car and was explaining how the officials cost him the game. And we pulled over real quickly, and I let him know that officials don't lose the game. How about the time he fumbled or missed 3 tackles or didn't break a tackle? Let's not blame other people. Let's not blame our teammates. Let's not blame the officials. Let's not blame the coaches. Let's look at the mirror and say, what can I do to get better? And as a head coach, that starts and ends with you. If you are okay with blaming, so are your kids, so are your coaches, you're never going to improve. Number 8, don't lose the forest for the trees. A lot of times as a head coach, we get overwhelmed. And we get a to-do list of 300 things to do. We get through with 3 of them. We got to deal with 15 different things we didn't expect to come on the schedule. And all of a sudden we got home, we did nothing. You need to own your schedule. You need to be very intentional with your time. Otherwise, your time turns into putting out fires you didn't know were out there, and you never got to what was the most important thing you wanted to do that day. Make sure you're doing what you need to do, and then if you got to get to this other stuff, you'll get to it, but you need to make sure you're prioritizing your time, okay? And that kind of goes into the next one. Don't lose your priorities. What are your priorities? Why'd you become a head coach? I hope it was to impact the next generation of people. I hope it was to make better citizens coming up or make better men and women. Don't lose that in the heat of a loss or in the heat of a 16-year-old making a mistake on a ball court or a field. Don't lose a kid because you sometimes lose our priorities, okay? I want to win as much as anybody, and I wish I could go back and take back a lot of things I said. And that could be even yesterday. So don't think I'm perfect in this world. But I would suggest, don't lose focus on what you're there for. So when your temper rises, take a breath. And if something you need to deal with tomorrow, deal with tomorrow. Don't lose your priorities because of the emotions of what are going on. Okay? And then don't fail to adapt. Kind of going up here to don't wait for change. If you sit there and hope and you have this perfect dream world of what's going to happen, that's probably not going to happen. So how are you going to adapt and make it work? Instead of going, man, we were going to have a great season, but our starting running back got hurt. You better adapt because your opponent is not going to feel sorry for you. Okay? And the other kids that are on that team expect you to have an answer. So maybe you had this vision that we were going to have a brand new field house and your superintendent pulls the rug from you. Well, how are we going to adapt? What can we do to make things work? As a head coach, that's constant what you're doing. That's constantly what you're expected to do is adapt. You better be ready to adapt and change. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. Sometimes you're over on Plan X by week 9. but you better be able and willing to adapt, or it's not going to go very, very well for you wherever you are. Hopefully you got something from this. Don't forget, I've got the full articles on this coming out in Headsets the magazine, which over at fbcoachsimpson.com/headsets, as well as a lot of much smarter guys and better writers than I am who are contributing to that newsletter, that magazine. I want to make sure I thank them publicly here as much as I can. Of course, this will be a book eventually, and I've got multiple other books on my website, fbcoachsimpson.com. Appreciate your time. Thank you.